Coach Keyton Crawford here on the Crawford Podcasting Network on this drizzly Sunday morning. What is it, September 29th? Almost September's almost over. Heading to October. Interesting weekend in college football, including that Alabama-Georgia game last night, which when these two teams play, let them play 4 or 5 times a year. I mean, I'd be all about that.
I'm watching every one of them.
That was insane. There's some athletes, and this, oh my God, this Ryan Williams from Alabama, 17-year-old out of Mobile. That guy is that wide receiver. And then they have Bama's got another freshman, makes the game clincher at the end. Unbelievable. I digress. I'm all over the place because there's so much to talk about. He's Coach Kerry Keyton. I'm Tom Crawford, and we're gonna try to process all this in a limited amount of time where it doesn't go too long. But obviously, let's start. Where do we start? Let's start last night, the most recent game of the Michigan State scenario here against Ohio State. Now, full disclosure, went to the Michigan game, obviously, post-game presser, had some dinner with some fraternity brothers in Brighton, come back. I'm listening to George Blaha and Jason Strayhorn trying to figure out what's going on. Jason goes, oh! That means it's not a good play. That means it's a good. George doesn't even reset. I mean, I don't even know what the score is, but I just react to the crowd. But interesting game. And I thought Michigan State played they were in that game. It happened.
Absolutely.
But the problem is that final touchdown before the half by Ohio State with that one-hand grab. Jeremiah.
Amazing catch.
You're talking about another one.
Amazing
catch. That's wide receiver U is Ohio State University. That was killer. But I mean, I think you should feel good about Michigan State. Just negate the turnovers.
I'm still very, very encouraged. The first half, I mean, there's 4 key plays in the first half in my mind that dictated the scenarios of what happened at the end, what happened for the game.
Mm-hmm.
The first 4th and 1, in my opinion, kick the field goal, we're matching scores. It's 3-3, hopefully, and we have momentum. We're in the game, we're playing, we move the ball well. We had some good runs, we had some good catches.
That fumble that you're tight end making plays. Yeah, and then that's killer.
So that's the first play. Second play, Jack's fumble after he makes a great catch and run, gets us in the red zone.
Yeah.
That's his third. The Aiden Childs fumble that should have been a face mask that didn't get called in the red zone. Those are more points possibly. And then finally, right before halftime, we have 4th down. We had an incomplete pass, so the clock wasn't running, but we punted the ball, and instead of just punting the ball, which the kid can punt the ball a mile, just punt the ball in the end zone and make him have to go 80.
Yeah.
It looked like to me like he was trying to place it.
Yeah.
And he kicks the ball and he shanks it and it goes out at the 40.
Yeah.
So now they only got to go a little bit of yards, and then they end up getting, at least to get a field goal, and then they end up getting a touchdown.
Yeah.
And that kind of,
Well, that's
and then the second half was just not good football for us.
In what way? Lack of execution?
They just good, and they wore us down because
I don't think this Will Howard is a real deal, though. You think a quarterback?
I don't.
Is he a serviceable guy? Would you define Will Howard as serviceable for otherwise extraordinary talent?
In my opinion, he's just don't lose the game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Manageable.
Don't lose it because you got enough. Because I mean,
he's like Trent Dilfer on the Ravens.
Right, 33 came in and threw the dart for the touchdown.
33? What the? That was a laser.
He tried to be like your man, what's his name from Orchard Lake, Devin Gardner. We wore that 98 number.
That's Tom Hummer thing, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, great. I mean, came in because I had just got a text like, he's a backup quarterback. They're not gonna let him throw it. I said, well, 2 things. 1, he's played a lot, and 2, Chip Kelly doesn't care. He's gonna run his offense.
See,
and whoever
that's a
comes
strength
in
and
has
that's
to
a
run the
weakness,
offense.
but that was a strength. I mean, it can be a strength, it's like Wink Martindale with his blitzes. It can be a strength, can be a weakness.
But you have to be you, though.
That's true.
You
got to own it.
Just like was it the old defensive coordinator? Hey man, we're gonna play man to man. We're gonna.
You mean Don Brown?
Yeah, we're gonna. Hey, it's me.
How's Don Brown doing? The head coach at UMass. He lost to Miami of Ohio. They keep losing all the time. UMass.
That's his home. That's his home school though.
Yeah.
So he'll be all right.
another digression. Okay, so this is a crazy thing about college football. So Michigan State plays Ohio State on a Saturday night. So the game week, when I'm talking about game week, prep for the following week has shrunk even just a tad.
Oh, yeah.
But what shrinks it even more, you're going out to Eugene, Oregon on a Friday night. You got to move everything up a day. You have one less day of prep.
Bad scheduling by Big Ten for this one.
Unacceptable.
Just not fair. Just totally not fair.
Just say no.
I mean, they're not
Just
saying
say no.
that because the money moves everything, and the TV contract says you're gonna go play. And you're gonna play on Friday, and you're gonna play this night game Friday or Saturday. So guess what, buddy? But at the same time, they're not the allotment of time that they're with, during the week.
Yeah.
It's not like the old days.
Yeah.
So
I understand.
They'll have
that.
time to recuperate and get fresh. And
I mean, Michigan State. This is about building to the future. I mean, they're not going to be in the CFP. They're not going to be in the Big Ten championship game hunt, but they're trying to get a bowl game, and I think they're still on target for doing that, on schedule to doing that.
Yeah. I don't see them being discouraged to going out to Oregon and playing.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you this: FCS Idaho went out to Eugene and should have beat them, and then Boise State should have beat them. I mean, it's not like Oregon's a juggernaut. I think Ohio State is by far the best team in the Big Ten, but I think the SEC has 3 teams better than Ohio State, in my opinion. 4. Maybe even 4. I mean, it's insane.
It's
when I watch the optics
the
of
athlete, just the athletes alone on the field.
Yeah,
it just and they're all over.
So Aiden Childs, everything targets on the quarterback. You talk about that. Well, they got quarterback situation at Michigan, but I mean, where are you at with Aiden Childs? As far as I'm talking about week by week, is he improving from last week at BC to this week? Did you see improvement?
I saw improvement in that first half.
I know you're a line coach, not a QB coach.
Sure, in that first half, I saw plenty of improvement. Good balls were thrown on time, balls were thrown where they're supposed to be. He could control the offense. I thought he should have tucked a couple more and took off running when he had the opportunity, and then slide and positive. Like Coach Frog always talk about positive plays. Just continue to make
just
positive
don't have negative plays. Those negative plays are killer.
And a lot of those were on run plays. First down, where, they're sending people. Safeties are making a tackle in the backfield for 4 yards. That's not.
When you're
good.
managing down and distance and you got negative plays, it ain't gonna work.
Can't be on first. Definitely can't be on first down.
Yeah.
So, but no, and you can see because what ended up happening is because we're getting a lot of our play action fake. They weren't buying it late because our running game stalled. So guys are staying home. So that's when the one interception tries to get it over the top to get it to that, and he probably should have just threw it to the second receiver, but what do you say, 6 one way, 1 half the other. You can see that he's trying to make those plays, just unable because of different reasons. But I'm very encouraged. I'm very encouraged with the defense, the effort, the plays. We have Pig. We're playing good football. We just, again, 61 guys. When we get some more players, the coaches, they're there. Just got to make
you gotta
plays.
have players. Now, some programs, like Georgia, like Alabama, can retool and not waver,
At all.
Okay, like Michigan lost, they had 22 starters last year. 18 of them are gone. So they got 4 back. And pretty much an entire new coaching staff that got assembled in late January and beyond. There's transition woes that you have to consider. But when you're at the magnitude of a Georgia, Alabama, and Texas, you can fill in gaps.
Right. That's what was always
because you
amazing.
have such great players like Ryan Anderson from Alabama.
That's truly reloading and not rebuilding.
Yeah.
And that was always like the greatest thing about Nick Saban. They're always coming in, poaching his coaches and whatnot.
That's part of the game.
He just gets new ones and gets them on his philosophy and what he's trying to do. and they stayed at that high level the whole time.
So Michigan down in Ann Arbor for battle for the Little Brown Jug. Michigan for the third. I mean, all season long they've played pretty well in the first half. They had a 14-3 lead over USC, squandered that away. They had a big. They had 21-0 right before half. They gave up a field goal at the end. It was 21-3, and they were ahead 24-3 into the fourth quarter. Let that squander away. We're going to talk about the ending of that in a second. But it's just the opposite of last year's Michigan team, which was a second half team. So the biggest issue for Michigan is quarterback. I asked Sharon, or asked Alex Orgy, I asked Sharon Moore about the progressions. It's a pretty tight-lipped response when you talk to Sharon Moore about his quarterback situation. It was tight at the start of the season. It's getting even tighter as far as responses of his progression and what might be the future plan. The Jack Tuttle injury, will he come back? Can't get anything out of that. And as far as Davis Warren coming back in, I think that ship has passed. He's riding the rapids with Alex Orgy, and he is not Jalen Milroe, who almost threw for 400.
And ran for probably almost another 100.
Guys, I mean, that was what Michigan fans had a vision. It would be like that, but he just doesn't have the arm. And there was one play.
Either.
Well, there was one play. Well, I mean, there was one play that was glaring. So you had Donovan in motion. He kind of sat in the flat. He was wide open as a safety valve, and then he streaked down the field. He kind of ran a wheel route. Mm-hmm. He was wide open, and he missed that second read. And he threw to Colston. Instead of when he was open, he led him in between the hash, and it was picked off. Mm-hmm. I mean, so
like I said,
he's just not making the progressions.
Sure.
In the vertical game, and that's. I mean, you don't have a vertical passing game. 32 yards last week, 86 yards. 10 of 16 or 8 of whatever it is for 86 yards. That is not going to beat good teams, and there is not a team on the schedule that's an automatic win for Michigan. Maybe Northwestern at home on November 23rd. The Michigan State game, I think, is pretty much a toss-up. I'm saying that in all sincerity. At Illinois, at Indiana. They got to fix this game. You cannot be a one-dimensional football team.
Illinois gave Penn State every little bit they wanted, and shot themselves in the foot.
That's a daunting task. Beating Washington on the road is Michigan on the West Coast, Big Ten teams on the West Coast. That's daunting. And then going to Columbus, good luck with that challenge. So, I mean, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but this is a rebuilding year for Michigan.
Realistic. There's nothing wrong with being realistic. But they won.
They won, and
that's all, at the end of the
my
day,
phone's blowing up.
Matters.
I mean, angry Michigan State fans friends of mine that why are you so angry about if Michigan got a favorable call on the offsides? I mean, why are you blowing up my phone? Why don't you care about your own team? Can you do that? 1 second?
They hadn't had a chance to yet. We hadn't played yet.
Oh, you hadn't played. But your favorite team is who's ever played Michigan.
Hey, they're at the tailgate with some adult beverages.
You think so?
Things were probably flowing.
Yeah. Wait, you think that's it? But yeah, I mean that looked like. I mean, it depended on the camera angle. But how come you're not asking me about on the Michigan's up 24-3. They're going to get off the field, and Mason Graham gets called for a face slap on a helmet, and he was blatantly held. Let's talk about that one. Also, let's talk about that reception at the end of at the half where he kicked the field goal. And once you look at that, break that one down, see if that's a catch, which added 3 points right there. I don't know, ifs, ands, candy, and nuts. I mean, game is a bunch of plays that adds up to a final result. But worry about your own damn team. Get a life.
Stay in your lane. And worry about your own business.
Anyway, but Michigan, and I'll say this straight up, and I don't have the low goggles on. I see this team right now, just on a week by week evaluation in the 7-5, 8-4 range. That's just the way it is. When you are so flawed at quarterback in terms of threatening the defense, not having a vertical passing game, and your line's still trying to merge in run blocking. And you got some injuries on defense. Will Johnson didn't play. Josiah Stewart wasn't in there. I mean, you got to get some guys back. And you're going to Washington, their first road game after 5 home games. It's like you might have to kind of just reprocess the expectations of the team. I don't think it's a CFP team, and I'm being Captain Obvious here with that statement.
But that's the one thing, because like I said, I did not get a chance to watch that game because my daughter was playing volleyball, so I was watching, but I had my iPad, but I left the iPad in the other gym where 12 o'clock started. So anyway, but I was surprised, like, knowing how limited Michigan is throwing the ball. Like, at the end of the game, I was able to catch a little bit. And Minnesota, hey man, look, you need to play man zero and start. I need 8 people in that box to
maybe,
stop the run.
Maybe roll somebody else up.
Yeah, and Mullins was still getting 3, 4, 5 yards a pop.
And his tongue was hanging up. He was tired.
And that's disappointing because like I said, my man, if he lose 7 pounds, I think he'd be better. He's just not.
Donovan, when he added that extra 12. Yeah,
it's just not helping him. And
I don't think so.
I'm upset for him because I really like him and I want him.
But you got to get him out in space. That's for sure. And you put him in wideout. Why don't you move him to wideout?
Put him in slide. Do something. Because he's one of your better players. He got to be on the field doing something.
You got to get him the ball.
Got to do something.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see what they do against the Huskies. That's next week. 7 o'clock at night. I think that's on Peacock. I'm not sure. So Michigan State moving forward. Like I said, I made my statement, but I want to move over to a very, very high-profile high school football game that took place Friday night over here at Lindsey Adams Stadium. I wasn't able at a dinner thing that I always go to that DeWitt East Lansing game. So entertaining, but back and forth. Listen to it on the radio, and also my phone. And wow. That was, I know it's disappointing, but your kids hung in there. DeWitt's very good.
No doubt.
Questionable calls I saw on some clips, but hey, I guess that's part of the game, right?
I guess. All you ask for is to do your job as the best you can. If that's the best you can, and that's unfortunate. But we had enough of our own mistakes. We didn't tackle very well Friday night.
Well, that's how small plays become big plays.
Absolutely. And we had some big plays that somehow got so it was disappointing. It's still that even with all the mismanagement of the way the game was called, whatnot, we still had a chance at the end to at least score, to go kick a field goal or extra point to tie it, or go for 2 to win it, and we didn't take care of our business down there when we had 1st and goal from the 12. And we had opportunities that we just didn't take advantage of, unfortunately for us. But they 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, man, and they don't always make the best decisions.
No, but I think this is a critical part for East Lansing. You're 3-2 right now. You're 2-0 in league, or 2-1 in league. What do you in league play?
2-1. Yeah.
2-1 league play.
Ultimates,
yeah. So that's going to be hard because you got to get DeWitt's got
I don't think anybody going to lose to them.
Yeah. So my point is, but a lot of postseason. Playoff is, with your schedule, you're going to get in the playoffs, in my opinion. But you got a big game next week.
The Davidson Cardinals. I watched some more film. There's some big old kids over. Another Division I football team.
That's a D1 program. Like Hudsonville's a good team too.
Hudsonville just smashed Kentwood 35-7.
And they beat Rockford the week before. There is such thing as a credible loss. But
we're not playing those slouches. We don't have to go out of state to play nobody.
But it's like when you guys start prepping today for the game plan next week, you got to get your kids ready. You got to bounce back and get this DeWitt thing behind you.
No,
you're going on the road.
That game over. Ain't nobody thinking about DeWitt no more.
And you got to create your own energy when you go on the road. You got to create energy on the sideline.
But they got great stadium there.
Well, I know that, but you still got to create your own stadium.
But see, that's the thing though. Like if you don't get on the bus.
Yeah.
Just stay here.
Yeah.
We're going to win a football game.
How do you feel about your kids being able to do that? You feel good about this team? Be honest.
Last year's team would have been, they're more resilient last year. This one we're gonna find out.
You haven't found out yet.
Not yet, because this is the first. Like Hudsonville, was on the road, whatever. We feel we should have won that game, whatnot. we feel we should have won this game against DeWitt. But we know
Question.
the Hudsonville game was way more our own fault. This one, we had opportunities to do it and we just didn't. So now it's like, okay, no, you had the opportunity. You didn't finish the deal, or at least give you a chance to finish the deal. Now you're going to go against some more big dogs. And what do you want your season to be? You know, what do you want it to be? Now, do you want to you can lay down and be a punk and not do it, or you can step up, put your big boy panties on, and let's go get let's knock off somebody who's 4-1.
There's a lot of football to be played, as the saying goes, and a lot of good things to earn out there.
No question about it.
I mean, you get in the playoffs, and I mean, you're playing a tough schedule. Good Lord. And you still got Lansing Everett looming around the corner.
No question. Who went down to Grand Blanc, and I mean they lost, but I mean they didn't go down there and get punked out.
Right. So
so
all good. I know that your kids will be ready. Rocco will get all that entire team ready. Gianni and everybody will. So I'm confident EL will.
Coach been in the building. He's been in it. He's been there for 3 hours and 45 minutes already putting it together. Ain't no question about it. So there's not one doubt that the time and the work.
77-year-old Bill Faracco
putting the work in.
Wow, that's passion for a lot of years. Anyway, Kerry Keyton, Tom Crawford here, Coach Keyton Crawford, Crawford Podcasting Network. Go out to Tom State Community, our YouTube page. Honor us by, subscribing, liking it, sharing it with people. Also on our community page. Until next time, Kerry Keyton, Tom Crawford.
Go Green, go Trojans.
And go Blue.
Latte up at the food counter.